Welcome to the Overgivers Anonymous podcast. My name is Angela Mondor, also known as the Geeky Girl. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about some amazing things to help you get over overgiving. Hi, and welcome to this episode of the Overgivers Anonymous podcast. I am excited to bring this episode to you, mostly because it is one of the things that I think is most important to how I run my business, but also how I've seen other people bring a bunch of joy into their business to really be able to connect to what's going on inside their business. Here's what's exciting is that I'm going to talk to you about this, and maybe you've heard of this before, maybe you haven't, but what I'm looking forward to sharing with you is that I do definitely want you to see, to feel, to understand the true brilliance that you offer the world. When you do see that, when you are able to bring that to the world, not only does it bring your best higher value to every single human being you meet, but it also brings you a ton of joy. Now, defining your true brilliance can be difficult because when we are in our true brilliance, we don't understand that it is in fact our brilliance. It's kind of a double-edged sword. There are those who understand it, those who know it, those who feel it and can like really claim it really easily. And then there's other people who really can't claim it that easily. I fall into that pathway. It took a long time to understand this concept of what my true brilliance was. And I know that a lot of the entrepreneurs I work with come across this the same way. I don't know, is it a neurodiverse thing or not? I don't know, but I'll tell you this. It's very difficult to understand if you've never been confronted, I guess, with it. But I did have a conversation with a client recently that will help you to understand this as well. And that client was talking about how they have all these things going on and they're doing this and they're doing that. And people around them are like, how can you do those things? How can that, like, why do you do this? Or how do you make those things look so easy? Or, right? I'm sure you've had those kinds of people come to you as well. There's like, hey, you're pretty awesome at that. How come you're able to do that and those 14 other things? Or how are you able to do this or that or the next thing? That is your true brilliance. When you are able to do something effortlessly, when you are able to accomplish things easily, when you feel at your highest best, that in fact is your circle of brilliance. Now, it is difficult to define it because we just, especially, I think especially as neurodiverse people, we tend to just go, 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 go. We land in the world of human doing much better than we do in the human being because we want to stay active and going and staying focused and running all the time. So it's difficult for us to see that whatever it is that we're doing is a light in somebody else. They're like, oh, wow, that's amazing. So when somebody says that to you, please listen, please take it in. Even if you think, oh, what are they talking about? Of course, everybody can do this. Not everybody can do that. Let's be honest. There are things that you and I do that aren't easy. When I sit down to do accounting in my business, this is not easy. It's stressful. It's annoying. I have outsourced it in the past. That has its own challenges as well. Nonetheless, always be able to understand what is it that you are really good at and what are the things that you can offload elsewise, right? So when you are thinking about what your true brilliance is, if you don't know it right now, that's okay. Just start listening to the people around you, start hearing what they say, rather than just brushing it off and saying, oh, yeah, whatever. I mean, everybody else is good too. You have your own circle of brilliance. There are some people who are really, really good at fixing computers. And then there are some people who are really, really good at editing words. Whatever it is that you do inside your world, in your business, around other people that you are brilliant at, you will see those things come out through other people's eyes sometimes. So keep an ear out for what other people are saying and pay attention. Don't just write it off. That sometimes can be the best way for you to find out what your true brilliance is. Now, in that, the brilliance is one piece to it, and then we have our strengths. So your strengths in terms of what you are good at. Now, always remember that just because you can doesn't mean to say you should. So I'm very good at fixing computers. I'm great at running cables. I'm fantastic at laying down networks. I shouldn't do it. It's not my circle of brilliance. I have strength in that and I can do those things. There are other things that I have strengths at that aren't my circle of brilliance. But when you think about your circle of brilliance and what that looks like for you, how can you take that and then look at what are the strengths in your circle of brilliance? For me, showing up in front of a camera, that is a really good, intense circle of brilliance for me. Showing up in front of a crowd of people, to speak on stage, to train, to teach. These are all things that are really, really massively part of my circle of brilliance. Outside of that, editing the video, putting it out on social media, coming up with, doing those kinds of things, not my circle of brilliance. I can do it, but not my circle of brilliance. So my strength lies in creating the content. Okay, so that is a strength of mine. And so now I need to look at what's the other side of that and how can I offload some of the other things, right? So we talked about the accounting stuff a little bit, not my strength either, obviously. So look at what it is and how you can incorporate your circle of brilliance and your strengths together. So the whole concept of me training and teaching and connecting with you right now, one-on-one, all of those things really I'm very good at. So if I can't do it in front of a stage, if I can't do it in a classroom full of people, if I can't do it one-on-one in person, how can I do it? By video on the internet is another way. Look for ways that your circle of brilliance and your strengths can stand together. It's amazing when those two things happen. If your circle of brilliance is challenging because there's things that you don't have strength in, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to learn to be strong in them. Okay, we have the time money factor to think about. Sometimes we have to get stronger in those things, but I would encourage you not to lay so much time to that you're taking away from your brilliant side. But if you have money to put towards that problem, then find people that you can offload those things to that are not your strengths, okay? When you can align your work with your brilliance, that's when you're going to be the most successful and you're also going to have the most fun in life. You're going to be joyful in what you do. You're going to be successful financially as well as emotionally, spiritually. All of the things will come together for you. When you are looking to align those things, if you are, let's say you're an entrepreneur you're doing a side hustle right now. You're working full-time in order to pay your bills, but you're doing the side hustle. That's okay. If your side hustle is in your circle of brilliance, then feed on that energy to get you through your days that you have to do at the job, right? The job. If you are working as a full-time entrepreneur, just make sure that you are spending as much time in your circle of brilliance as possible. And then, like I said, build an amazing team. Find people who can take over on the things where your strengths are lacking, okay? You won't know until you start to play the field, until you start to figure things out. So you start to put things together. If you are a fantastic intuitive healer, it's possible that you're not really good at doing paperwork. Or if you are fantastic at making sales, you might not be really good at implementing the work after the sale's been completed. So there's lots of different things where we yin and yang through this, and you just need to find out what's your circle of brilliance, where are your strengths? And then how can you make up the differences? A SWOT analysis is always fun during something like this. But when you are in fact aligned and when you are bringing your true brilliance to the world and relying on your strengths, when you spend the most time in your brilliance and your strengths, you will create a massive, joyful impact in the world, not only in your own life, your families and the people around you, your team, your clients. You will also spread that joy to other people you come across in the world too. Your face will be more joyful, your body, your posture, everything about you will just be more in tune to where you're heading. That's the way it has been for me and for so many more other people. It is one thing to be working in your circle of brilliance, but then constantly trying to be stronger in things that you're not stronger in. You come to a bit of a crossroads of energy. One's pulling you this way and the other one's pulling you that way, and you're really not able to align. But when you can align your strengths and you can align to your circle of brilliance, now you have a powerhouse of moving forward. So I encourage you to really look at those things. There are challenges to overcome, that is for sure. You can overcome challenges by yourself, or you can encourage yourself to be part of groups. Find yourself a group of people who are in the same mindset of you are, that you are trying to accomplish great things together, and you can lean on each other and support each other, provide advice to each other. We will always have challenges to overcome, and mostly because as human beings, we're always wanting the next step. So it's important to also celebrate what we have accomplished up to today before trying to reach for that next summit, because there is a next summit. And just because we are reaching for success, it doesn't mean to say that that is the end of the line. There's more success to come, because we'll always be asking for more success. We want to exchange and expand, and that joyful impact that you're going to have is going to expand with it. So I really hope that what you take away from this is that you are amazing and you have fantastic abilities, not only strengths, but also you do have a circle of brilliance within you. And even if you can't see it right now, start listening to the people around you. Start asking questions. When people say, how do you do this? Or why are you so good at this? Start asking them questions like, well, how do you feel when you do this? Or have you not met other people who can do this? Like, just ask questions of them so that you can get more information about your gifts and your talents. And if you have a really great mentor or friend, they'll probably be able to quickly point it out for you and literally shine a light on for you. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I hope that you're able to lean into what other people are saying about you and actually take it in, to absorb it, to listen to it, to hear it, to feel it, rather than just brush it off and say, oh yeah, whatever. Hope you have a fantastic week. I look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Overgivers Anonymous podcast. Your support means the world to me. You can find show notes for this episode and other goodies at overgiversanonymous.ca. And if you enjoyed this episode or you enjoyed the podcast in general, why not join us in the Overgivers Anonymous Facebook group, where you can connect with overgivers from all over the world. Head on over to geekygirl.ca/group.